no more devoted fans in the whole world, well, maybe the PTL Club, than Deadheads, Grateful Dead fans.
Got a little red rooster, 2 legs, Cooper D.
If you see them, you appreciate them, because they're great.
Got a little red rooster, 2 legs, Cooper D.
I've been following them, I guess, for about 6 years now, so I'm still a fresh Deadhead.
Keep everything in the barnyard, people. Upset in every way.
They do something that no other band does, and that's stay together for 20-some years and keep doing it.
Don't speak in the bark. How? Speaking the how.
The Grateful Dead have never had a top 40 hit, and they haven't put out a new record in years. So it may surprise you that they have made more money from their concerts than any band in rock history. And now, after 22 years on the road, the Dead are more popular than ever. Their success is fueled by the legions of fanatical fans known as Deadheads. They follow the band from city to city in a traveling roadshow, selling T-shirts and trinkets to support their habit. Addicted to the Dead, they are chronic concert goers.
I stopped counting after 30.
149.
Yeah, I've seen them about 135. Only about 15 this summer because she's pregnant.
Yeah, we're waiting for a little Deadhead.
It's turned out to be more incredible than we could have imagined, really. But there was just something about the chemistry, you know. There was something about the chemistry that said, this is going to be far out, you know. This is going to be something very interesting. It was a great moment to start something.
That something became a success story that broke all the rules of the music business. The Grateful Dead ignored the star-making machines of the record companies and went about creating a family of Deadheads. They have kept alive the ideals of the 60s in the way they treat their employees and their fans. Their 2 hotlines get up to 1,000 calls a day, and they provide ticket and travel information to help prevent scalping. There is a bond between the group and its fans that you won't find anywhere else.
For me, and for us, I think, and probably for them too, what we represent, or what the whole ball of wax represents, is anything is possible. We've been proving that. We've survived, and if we can survive, anything must be possible.
The band almost didn't survive. Drugs and alcohol have taken their toll, including 1 death and several arrests. But according to drummer Mickey Hart, the band has changed its ways.
Seems to be under control, and I'm sure it is. And everybody does drugs, you know, one form or another, but this is basically a lily white organization as far as that goes right now. It's amazing what people might think, you know, but this, you can't last this long and do drugs every day, or every night, or every week and expect to be consistent. It just, there's the myth about drugs, it's concerning this band anyway.
It wasn't drugs that almost did the band in, it was diabetes. Last year, Jerry Garcia, having gone through a drug rehabilitation program, suddenly collapsed into a diabetic coma. The doctor said he would never play again.
I never felt ill, I never had any pain. And I just woke up one day in the hospital with 1 million tubes sticking in me, you know, and it was very weird. I went through lots of changes after that, when I started to realize how close I'd come to dying.
It took months of practice before Jerry could play again, but his recovery helped to inspire both him and the band. Touch of Grey is the Dead's first music video, and their record, In the Dark, is their first new album in 7 years. The band is tighter than ever, and Jerry Garcia is grateful to be alive.
When I was in the hospital, I thought, of all the places I'd like to be in the world right now, I would rather be doing almost anything than this. And especially love to be playing, you know? So for me, the thing of being able to come back and play is, this is the best of all possibilities. And that was all I had to say. It's all right. I will get by.
Of course, this time when the Grateful Dead are in concert at the Oakland Coliseum, it'll be with Bob Dylan. Should be great. Grateful Dead gets a little upset when they're called a nostalgic act because they say, how can you bring us back when we have never left?
Deadhead Pat Riley easily explains the popularity of the Grateful Dead.
All the musical artists from the 60s and 70s that are making a return right now because there's such a musical void right now.
Deadheads, as the band's faithful followers are called, are nothing if not loyal. They come to concerts early and they come often.
I've been to about 80 shows. Why? It's a fun thing to do.
How many concerts have you gone to?
Oh, well over 100. Come on, we gotta get in line.
But this tour is even more special. Joining the Dead is living legend Bob Dylan. That was enough to get Teresa Hester out to her first concert in 15 years. She says there's a message.
Pay attention, get involved. Help save what we've got before we lose it all, like Earth.
One of the Dead's fans is a guy who's followed them ever since the Haight-Ashbury days, rock promoter Bill Graham.
Are the concerts still fun for you?
Some like this are very special to us. The others, we meet payroll.
Keep on rolling, just a mile to go.
Bob Dylan did not appear in our story because we were not permitted to shoot him in concert. But judging from the mood of the people who came to be part of the history-making tour, there's no doubt he was well received. In Oakland, Don Knapp, News Center 4.
Thousands of fans turned out tonight to see rock music legends Bob Dylan and the Grateful Dead at the Oakland Coliseum together. The parking lot began filling up early today with the so-called Deadheads, of course, providing a pretty entertaining pre-concert show right out of the 60s, as they usually do. The Dead fans have their own particular style, right down to a most unusual way, for instance, of drinking beer. She didn't spill a drop. And this is what comes of doing only one thing through the rest of your life and spending a lot of time doing that. Many of the fans at tonight's concert said they'll go on for the final concert by Dylan and the Grateful Dead on Sunday in Anaheim and drink more beer.
Well, Suzanne, as you might see behind me, the fans are just pouring into the Coliseum for the concert that'll be getting underway very soon. Although we were told earlier today there were about 10,000 tickets still available for the 60,000 seats inside, officials of the Coliseum felt very confident that by concert time, most of those would be gone. And while the preparations were underway inside for tonight's concert, the real show this afternoon was out here in the parking lot. The crowd showed up early, many of them arriving here before morning in order to get choice seats, since nearly all are general admission, unreserved seats. There are fans here from a number of distant states. Several admitted to being such devoted fans they followed this concert series from place to place.
Well, we went to the Eugene, now we're at the Oakland, then we'll be at Anaheim. So 3 for this season.
There was an impromptu bongo concert underway in the parking lot. The atmosphere here was pretty much like that at a 49er football game, with all of the tailgate parties underway. There were flower children of all ages, many of whom were not even born in the 60s. You could buy food of almost any kind, even some that had strange and unfamiliar smells. There were beads for sale, and shawls, and jewelry, and leather goods, but mostly T-shirts. This young woman is a loyal fan of the Grateful Dead, who also does a little sales work along the way. How long have you been selling T-shirts?
On and off now for almost 8 years, 8.5 years.
And you go to all their concerts?
90%, yes.
And you make a living out of selling T-shirts?
That, and I'm usually a school teacher also.
And then there was this fan, who we figure left for this concert in such a hurry, he just plain forgot to put his clothes on. When he approaches the gate to get in, he's going to have to carry his ticket in his teeth. Suzanne, watching the goings-on outside was a real step back in time, because in just a matter of minutes, we were back in the 60s. Suzanne?
It's not exactly Woodstock, but it's probably as close as you're going to get here in the 1980s. They are known as Deadheads, and many of these music fans have followed Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead since the 1960s.
We're all Deadheads, deep inside, you know.
A few of these people are graduates of the Flower Power generation, wearing a rainbow of tie-dye shirts and Indian print dresses. Others are a bit younger. Jesse here has seen the Grateful Dead 8 times so far. Jesse is the one with the hat. Jessie is 4 months old.
We'll dance them around. Babies love to be danced, and they like music, so.
If you think the Grateful Dead's fans are fanatics, say hello to one of Bob Dylan's followers.
Dylan is God.
Why do you say that?
Because he's the greatest poet and songwriter that ever lived.
While many wouldn't go that far, Dylan and the Dead do bring back memories.
Good music and nice people, and it's nostalgic.
It's been 2 decades since the heyday of Jerry Garcia and Bob Dylan, but they're proving tonight they can still draw a crowd. This is the largest group this year to watch a music concert here in the Bay Area.
Mississippi uptown. Hello, baby, I'm gone.
For nearly 60,000 people at the Coliseum tonight, the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan offer a chance to dance and to look back with a smile on the summer of love 20 years ago. In Oakland, Stan Wilson, Channel 5 Eyewitness News, Nightcast.
Shut the line, shut the door. You don't have to worry anymore. I'll be your baby tonight. Shut the door.
Okay, we're ready to kick off our Day of the Dead coverage. Now, as you might know, there's going to be reports each hour about the band, their beginnings, the changes they've gone through, seen in rare footage from the 60s and 70s, plus the Dead today. And, of course, what would any Dead story be without a couple of chapters on their dedicated fans, the Deadheads. Now, in the first of our Day of the Dead reports, we're going to check in with the very cool Carolyn Heldman and our special correspondent, Rich Scheidner. Right now, before the start of the recent Dead show at New Jersey Meadowlands, Carolyn is a confirmed Deadhead. We know that. But Rich, well, we're not too sure.
Hi, I'm Rich Scheidner with Carolyn Heldman.
Back again together, us we are. It's fun.
We're here at the Meadowlands, Carolyn, waiting for the event that Dead fans will do anything to be a part of. It's a Grateful Dead concert. And I got to confess to you, I never really understood what all the fuss was about. To me, they're just a bunch of guys that are Velcroed to an acid trip concept of the 60s.
Oh, Rich, how dare you? We are all major Dead fans here, and there can only be one thing keeping you from being a Deadhead, too, and it has to be ignorance. Ignorance.
Ignorance.
Definitely.
Okay. Ignorance is bliss.
I don't think so.
Well, then teach me a wise one.
I'm going to. We're going to find out all about the living legends known as the Grateful Dead, and when we're done, you're going to be a Deadhead too, and we're going to start off with changing these stupid glasses. You have to have the right materials. Better.
I see things differently now.
Here's the Day of the Dead on MTV. We're talking to Deadheads, and this Deadhead, something really special happened to you today. What was it? What happened?
It's hard to explain, but I got married today, and it's the most beautiful day of a lot of beautiful days in my life.
Why'd you choose to get married at a Dead concert?
Because a friend of mine was here, and I love the bus. I love people that have been on the bus, and people have been on buses like this, going back to when you heard about the blue bus out in Haight-Ashbury. Remember? I remember. And it means a lot to me. It means a lot to my wife.
Good.
You're going to get married.
My wife.
Get married to somebody. Here's his wife.
Love and community. More Deadlines coming up. Don't go away on the Day of the Dead.
Thank you.
I'm here with Rich Scheidner at the Meadowlands. It's the Day of the Dead, and we're going to continue the Day of the Dead as we look at the people who made the Dead. We are talking about, of course, the Deadheads. We've got a special report on the Deadheads coming up this hour.
I will survive.
They support our habit, you know, which is bringing quality music in really spectacular environments to them and delivering every time we can. And they know that, and they're real supportive, so they're really an arm of the Grateful Dead. I mean, they are really part of the band.
To Deadheads, the shows are more than just concerts. They're festivals where people celebrate peace, love, and good music. There are all types of Dead fans, ranging from longtime Deadheads to first-time concert goers.
The enormous variety of kinds of people, you know, it's just all kinds of guys, you know, these like street corner Brooklyn guys, you know, and PhDs and thermonuclear physics, you know, and incredible people of all sorts, you know.
Me? I'm an inspector. I work for the government.
I'm unemployed right now, but I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance.
Oh, Primo, let's get on the road!
The hardcore Dead fan is part of the show itself and will travel thousands of miles to listen to the music play.
I've been following them since 1975. Up and down the East Coast. I've been to Red Rocks.
I've been on the road for about 4 weeks now, and I haven't had to worry about money or food or anything like that. It's been great. Beautiful people here. This is not the 60s either, it's the 80s.
The road trippers support themselves and each other by making and selling their own goods, like tie-dye t-shirts, jewelry, and food. This provides the means for them to travel and see the band.
They have a little city outside, you know, it's like they cook for themselves and they make their own wares and they sell them. I mean, it's a nice little cottage industry.
Why am I selling t-shirts? So I can go to the rest of the tour.
I follow the band around. I sell these wherever we go.
You got stickers for sale, too. Like, that's part of spreading the magic, man. Nothing like seeing the color on the road when you're hundreds of miles from home. You know you're with brothers and sisters.
Deadheads have a unique communication with one another. They stay in touch with the band through the Dead Hotline and with each other through newsletters, such as the Dupree's Diamond News.
It's song analysis, updates, set lists, tour dates, information about shows, what's happening at the shows, and just a whole bunch of information.
Well, I like the music, but it's the whole thing. It's the concert, it's the party, it's the band. I don't know. You can't really describe it. It's just a feeling you get when you're with all these people.
What do I do once I'm in there? I dance. We all dance. We all dance.
Sometimes when you're standing here and you look out and you see all these people of all different ages and they're all smiling and having a good time, your heart just swells and wants to burst, man. You feel like you're proud. You're real damn proud of what you're doing.
Every culture on earth has its own music. We have our own music, and we've been playing it long enough for people to really get a hold of it. And they come to the Grateful Dead for not only to party, but to find themselves.
We rented a place not far from here. This is Marin County, California. The Marin County Civic Center Theater, which is a nice little theater of about 2,000 plus seats. It's a concert hall, and we've played in it and appreciated the nice sound it has. It has nice detail to the sound. So we set up there as though we were playing a show, but no audience, and recorded everything. We had a remote truck, a very good one.
I had an idea of putting the band in darkness, you know, sort of sensory deprivation, and see what would happen. We did it while we were doing the basics. We turned all the lights off, the exit lights in the theater, and we played in the dark. And I wanted to see if it would maybe improve the music. Maybe, we would grow another ear or another sense or something. Of course, Bobby couldn't find the fretboard, so it didn't work. But it gave us the, the kernel for In the Dark.
This is certainly the first modern album that we've made where we really had fun. And we produced it ourselves, so it's all our fault, there's nobody else in there, nobody else's mind in there, So this is our conception of what it's like to be the Grateful Dead now, in 1987. I think it's 87.
Yeah, right there. Carolyn Helvin with you and Rich Scheidner.
Yeah, still here.
Here we are. I'm sure you've got the Grateful Dead in your living room all day, but if they weren't there, how far would you travel to see them? We're going to ask Deadheads that same question coming up in this hour.
And as it's been said, this is kind of a company picnic for people who ain't got a company. A bus to get there and back.
It's Terrapin Transportation, the best way. We get in, man? Deadheads are known for two things. The first is that they'll travel any distance to see the Dead. The second is the fact that no matter how many Dead shows they've seen, it's never enough.
Never.
Keep seeing them. Just how serious are these people about the Dead? We found out they're very serious about it.
I myself traveled several hundred miles to get to the show, but of course I was on the MTV luxury jet, so it doesn't really count. Anyway, I'm here with Paul.
Yep.
And Mike. You guys travel from where?
Seattle.
Seattle, Washington?
Yep.
Okay, as opposed to Seattle, New Jersey, which would have been a shorter trip. But Seattle, Washington, how many miles? How many miles?
It's far. It's far. It's far.
So that's pretty specific right there. It's far. And that's the way the wise men travel to find Jesus. Far. And they've traveled far to see the Dead. How did you get here?
Car, plane, bus.
Dog team involved?
Dog team.
And dog team. They'll do anything. They home in like lemmings. They're coming. They're here.
I've got some people who traveled not quite as far, but dedicated Deadheads. Where'd you guys come from?
Gunnison, Colorado.
Colorado, a true dead state, don't you think? Are you traveling with the band right now?
This far, about heading back.
Yeah, we're heading back after this one, waiting for Telluride.
You're going to catch them at Telluride, but not at Red Rocks.
Probably at Red Rocks. It's on the way.
Did you drive here?
Yes.
Yes.
Listen to tapes the whole way?
The whole way. Over and over.
Cool. See how dedicated these people are? We're at Meadowlands. It's the Day of the Dead. Don't go away. Carolyn Helvin here on the Day of the Dead. What's your favorite Grateful Dead song? Don't answer. It's full of Cherry Garcia, your mouth is. But we're going to get a bunch of answers from people all day as Day of the Dead continues, including the answer from this man right here who traveled all the way from South America. His name is Cesar. What's your favorite Dead song?
My favorite song is Sugar Magnolia. I love this one. It's the best.
Think they'll play it today?
I hope so. Yes, I think they want to do it for me.
Sugar Mag is good. My favorite's The Wheel. We're going to find out everybody else's favorite songs as the Day of the Dead continues. We'll find out favorite songs in this hour.
My favorite's the last one they play. Hi, this is Rich Scheider and Carolyn Heldman. You're watching Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Here's a little tip to remember next time you talk to a deadhead. It's okay to ask them whatever their favorite song is, but never, ever ask them how it goes. They might sing it.
The wheel is turning and you can't slow it down. Oh, sorry. What's your favorite?
Purple Haze.
Oh, it's not a... Come on.
He's
and
dead.
Your favorite dead song?
Dark
He's
Star.
Dead.
And?
Morning Dew and All Along the Watchtower, their new song.
So I hope
Dead
you can
modeling.
score. There's going to be a quiz later. The wheel is turning
Modeling
and
dead
you
fashion.
can't slow it down.
Do a
Can't
turn.
let
Do the
go
turn.
and you can't hold on.
I said you can't go back and you can't stand still.
If the thunder don't get you, then the lightning will.
Do-wop-a-wop-a, do-wop.
No, are you kidding? I couldn't lead these guys anywhere. No, they won't. They know me too well, you know. So it doesn't work that way. There's no way ever for me to predict what anybody in the band is going to play. Every musician in the band has their own musical personality. We share some points of view, but we're not alike. You know, we don't play the same way. We don't approach music the same way. And except for the Grateful Dead, which is the one thing we all do together, we're all pretty different.
We like each other a lot, and we're closer to each other than family. You know, we're as close as you can get. Remember, we've gone through about everything you can go through. You know, we've been in many continents together and many places together. We've gone to jail together. We've eaten together. We've slept together. We've done everything you can possibly do together. We've cried together. We've laughed together. We've done a lot of things together. We've been together. Yeah, well, the Grateful Dead has survived for many reasons. We sort of were meant for each other. It's sort of an alchemical thing.
Performing it, it's gotten to be real powerful, you know. So it's, but for a long time we did it, and it didn't quite, you know, work. You know, not quite, you know. Maybe next time, you know, we did it real up tempo for a while, and then a little more relaxed, and made all these changes in it. But now we've got the groove on it, you know.
Must be getting early.
As you can see, there is a touch of gray, and it sort of, that again, it describes a bit of who we are, you know. There's no need to hide it, it's there, you know, and why cover it up? It's okay.
I like that we will survive stuff, you know. Yeah, that's a good sentiment, you know. The belief is the thing that allowed us to act, allows us to keep on acting, and it also allows the whole thing to keep on happening for us.
No flash, they just lay it down, you know.
We love music. I love music.
Yeah, I love music.
And as the years go by, we get better at it.
It's this burning energy that starts right here and it goes throughout my body.
It's the madness that keeps us going, and as long as we stay mad, and a little crazy, and it stays fresh. Whereas the Grateful Dead just doesn't grow old.
Acid Tests, Haight-Ashbury, Psychedelic Rock, The Grateful Dead. They started out along with the hippies, but 20 years after the Summer of Love, the hippies are long gone. Yet the Dead and their legions of Deadhead followers are bigger than ever.
Began back when an audience of 200 was a lot of people, and it slowly began to grow from there until what we have here today at Giant Stadium, which is one of the most magnificent shows I think any band has ever had to play.
It all started around 1964 in San Francisco. 22-year-old banjo player Jerry Garcia formed Mother McCree's Uptown Jug Champions with folky friends Bob Weir and Ron Pigpen McKernan.
This jug band thing worked out pretty good because it didn't require that anybody be very good, see? Nobody had to be an expert, you know, and you could have fun with it, but it was still musical.
Within a year, they had electric guitars, bassist Phil Lesh and drummer Bill Kreutzmann. They changed their name to the Warlocks and played bluesy garage rock. Happening fast. LSD and other mind-altering drugs found their way into the hippest parties, like the acid tests thrown by author Ken Kesey.
I feel like you only come to this movie once, and if you don't get something rewarding out of every minute you're sitting there, then you're blowing your ticket.
The Warlocks became Kesey's house band, and they soon renamed themselves the Grateful Dead.
Everybody had gone through these transformations together, you know, this initiation, these rites of passage. Whether they took acid and went off into the woods, or took acid and went to the acid test, or took acid and contemplated their navel. One of the reasons why the Haight-Ashbury was such a great place, it was beautiful, the houses were wonderful, and they were great big old suckers, and the rent was real cheap, and you could get a bunch of your friends and all move in together. And everything else was just developing as it normally would. And when it got really weird in the Haight-Ashbury, we woke up one morning and there was the Gray Lines tour bus out in front of our house.
Driving that train, I'm cocaine.
The favorite pastimes of the hippies, besides taking drugs, are demonstrations and partying, seminars, and groups of discussions.
Then it was like, boom, swap, too many people, the environment collapsed. You know, so the whole thing was very fragile, and it was actually very short in duration, but it was really hot while it happened.
As the environment changed, so did the Dead and their music. They added second drummer Mickey Hart and began moving from folk and blues roots to the furthest edges of experimental improvisation.
It was new then, and it was the first time around, like all first times. It was real exciting, and we learned about what to play and what not to play in those days.
The Grateful Dead would come out, and they play some of the country-style hits electrically, some of the shorter songs, Me and Bobby McGee, let's say, Me and My Uncle. And then they take a break and they come back for set 3, which was the set. That's when the amps with all the lights were out. That'd be the psychedelic Dead.
The Grateful Dead's marathon exploratory concerts and laid-back good vibes made them special. They became more than just a band. They were an idea, an attitude, a lifestyle. And to their growing audience, it didn't matter that their records didn't really do the band justice.
We've made a few records in the past where, come on, we have to make a record, oh God, you know. Not only are they not representative of the Grateful Dead as the Grateful Dead really plays, but they aren't very good records anyway, you know.
The hippie counterculture of the 60s was turning into the me-decade consumerism of the 70s, but the Dead just kept on going and growing.
You could see the fanaticism beginning, I would say, in about 71, when enough people had seen them that they all started talking about it.
There is nothing like a Grateful Dead concert. Never will, period.
In 1971, the band earned its first gold record, and they unveiled their state-of-the-art concert sound system.
Surprising how little other bands are really concerned with the quality of life at their concerts and how shabby the sound can be, how shabby the lights can be. It's shocking to us, and we're really interested in wanting to eliminate the impersonal aspects and keep it all in the family, so to speak.
All in all, things couldn't have been better for the Dead, except for one thing, Pigpen's health. He'd lived the hard-drinking life of the bluesman, and it finally began catching up with him. To help with the keyboard work, the Dead recruited Keith Godshaw, who brought along his wife Donna on backing vocals. The music music held together, but the bluesmen got worse. On March 8, 1973, Ron Pigpen McKernan died from cirrhosis of the liver.
Pigpen was a true blues person. He lived the blues, he sang the blues, he died the blues.
When Keith and Donna joined the band, there was a little bit of a resistance to the change. When Pigpen died, people said, the Grateful Dead will never be the same. Of course they won't be the same.
But the Dead continued to make records and to pursue solo careers. They formed their own label and later signed with Arista Records. The Godshaws left, and keyboardist Brent Midland joined the band.
Brent is a real comer. I mean, he's got some beautiful tunes, and he's a great singer. So, and he's been coming out more and more, you know, after a mere 8-year apprenticeship. You know, people are still calling him the new guy. He's been with the band longer than most bands are in existence.
In 1981, the Dead stopped recording but continued to take their musical magic on the road 6 months a year with a repertoire of well over 100 songs. Many were written by two invisible members of the band, lyricists Robert Hunter and John Barlow.
Robert Hunter has an enormous input in our songwriting. He is the voice of the Grateful Dead. I mean, him and Bobby and John Barlow write a lot of the songs.
I create best when somebody holds a gun to my head.
I use a telephone. Call him up and ask him if he's written any music so I can write some words, because I've pretty much given up on trying to write words and have him write music later.
Generally speaking, the lyrics come first with Hunter and I. He's able to express for me what I would want to be able to put into words if I were able to do it, but he's so much better at it than I am that I just go with his version.
Deadheads didn't mind the 7-year wait for the new album, In the Dark. They know that the we in the We Will Survive chorus of Touch of Grey includes them along with the band, for the fans know that in today's ever-changing, fashion-conscious music world, they can come to see the Grateful Dead and find an oasis of steadfast, untrendy, good vibes and good music.
I like the Dead because of rhythm, true rhythm, real rhythm, rhythm that makes one move in a real way, in a real sense, and for a long, long time, longer than you and I can even see for.
There's a certain kind of transformation that happens at a Grateful Dead concert, which is what music is all about, the music that we're interested in, and that's the core of their zeal to get at the Grateful Dead, is that moment of transformation.
You go to a show and you feel you have a certain sense of camaraderie.
No, I don't know. You can't really describe it. It's just a feeling you get when you were with all these people.
Have you noticed that a Dead show, everybody in the whole stadium is like moving, like from the bottom row to like the top, like every single person is like moving, and I think that says it all.
Just one thing, hey, I got to say, I need a miracle every day.
They're the dancers. They're very obvious. I call them twirlers, and they just let it go and dance, and they're more than just dancing. There's just an aura about them.
I need a miracle every day.
The Grateful Dead has one of the largest followings in the history of rock and roll, the Deadheads. These mega fans have created an entire subculture based on the ideas and the music of the band.
There's a neat book out that's a Deadheads book. It's about Deadheads and for Deadheads, and has lots and lots of stuff that Deadheads have created, and anecdotes, and it talks really about that subculture.
Come here, Uncle John's band.
The Deadheads are an unusual, spectacular kind of a phenomenon.
Incredible people of all sorts, you know.
They create an environment
that adds to who the Dead are.
He's come to take his children home.
I don't really think that the philosophy is just 60s, you know, like people sometimes say that to me, and I don't think that that's where I am. I think I'm very 1980s. I know what year it is, you know, but just represented a lot of good things, and I think those things are still here today.
Sugar magnolia, blossoms blooming.
Part of being a Deadhead is hanging out with other Deadheads. So for lucky Deadheads in New York, there's the ultimate night spot, Club Dead.
Club Dead is like the next best thing to being at a Grateful Dead show. We can't be at a Grateful Dead show. We've got the videos, we've got the music, we've got the atmosphere, you know. It's just like, it's the next best thing to be. It's the recreation of a Grateful Dead concert in New York City.
Now the band is facing a new crop of growing pains as more and more people want to experience a Dead show for themselves.
We're getting so popular that we're popularizing ourselves right out of all of the good venues. I mean, playing giant venues is not my idea of playing intimate music. I mean, we have to because of the demand. We can't play in theaters anymore. I mean, it'd be riots. You know, it's not cool.
We're having troubles at concerts now where there's maybe 5, 10, 15,000 kids that can't get in. And they're outside breaking in the doors and doing this stuff, and that's not what we're about. We're about playing music and having fun, kidding each other, you know, and living as long as we can live.
I mean, tickets are a problem now, you know. It's we have a hard time getting them to everybody who wants them. So if there's that many more people who suddenly want them, it's going to, you know, it'll be a whole new level of problems for us. So in a way, don't anybody watch our video, and please avoid buying our record at all costs. You know?
Unlike other bands, the Dead permit their fans to tape their concerts.
These are tape covers, man. The Deadheads record their own the shows. That we're allowed to tape the shows. So we need tape covers.
I don't believe that the tapers have ever been responsible for ripping anything off. They mostly trade stuff around and things like that. And it's not like that. We don't view it in that light. And like I say, when we're done with it, anybody can have it. You know.
It's good love. Well, you got to have love in love. Yes, you got to have love in love. Just a little good love and gonna get it
love. And Grateful Dead sounds aren't the only items that Deadheads collect. The music's inspired a particular style of art.
The Grateful Dead has always been always been a resource and a reservoir for brilliant ideas for artists. I don't know what this fixation on skeletons, the Grateful Dead skeletons. I love it.
The Skeleton Rose image worked so good because it meant life and death at the same time. And it goes along with the word Grateful Dead because in a way that means life and death.
Said I'll run, but I'll take my time. A friend of the devil is a friend of mine.
I think they have a lot of respect and consideration for artists, and that's why they've always had so much good artwork. They've always had a lot of nice artwork, and the art's always been a real important thing to them.
Hi, this is from last summer's Greek shows. Only $10.
Why am I selling T-shirts? So I can go to the rest of the tour.
In today's commercial world, art often has a way of becoming merchandise.
I may be going to hell in a bucket, baby, but at least I'm enjoying the ride.
If the merchandise is good, then there's some merit to it, and they're able to make enough petty cash to make it to the next show. But if it's bogus material, merchandise, and they're selling it at huge prices, that's no good.
Huge demand for Grateful Dead memorabilia and information inspired the band to establish bi-coastal hotlines.
The hotline had the most important test when Jerry Garcia got sick. And there were daily messages that the various members of the Grateful Dead recorded for the hotline to keep everyone up to date.
Jerry's illness was really made us think on how fragile the Grateful Dead really is. You know, it looks like a big monster, you know, a beast, but it's like walking on eggshells. You know, it's very fragile, the interconnection between all the musicians. You know, if everybody isn't up, the Grateful Dead doesn't appear.
Mostly the thing was when I was in the hospital, I just really wanted to be anywhere but there, you know. If I had my choice, I'd be playing somewhere, you know. So this is like, now I'm out, you know what I mean? I'm acting this out now, you know. So this is like, okay, I've had my second chance, you know, this is great.
We were all really afraid, and all the prayer and love that we've gotten from our audience, I know has healed that man and healed the band through him.
We will survive. Jerry got sick, he came back, and this is it. This is what it's all about.
The Dead is being recognized by mainstream, you know, or the Dead's recognizing mainstream, but I think it's the other way around. When Mason starts selling tie-dyes, it's more like they recognize the Dead. I think someone in the band said that.
Well, we're not really in the mainstream of business. The Grateful Dead isn't geared to the normal business. It was never supposed to be, and that's why we're not part of the machine.
The music industry still never took the Grateful Dead seriously. Until now, all of a sudden the music industry is looking at the Grateful Dead and is saying, now, this is the year of the Dead.
Every silver lining's got a touch of gray.
For 20 years, the Grateful Dead has defied all the odds. Their popularity has grown over the years, and so has their artistic momentum.
I have more energy now. I have more energy in the playing. Me too. I'm playing better. I like the way I play better. I like what I know about music now. Those 20 years have paid off. They've been learning years, listening, you know, and that's a lot more fun now to go out and play with that knowledge, because you know knowledge is power, you know. So we're having more fun.
In one's creative life, you go up and down. There are valleys, and then there are mountains. And right now we're climbing that big mountain now. We are on top of a certain amount of our own dexterity, and our spirit is right. The blood is rushing, you know, the Grateful Dead's heart is pumping.
And they're pumping their new album, In the Dark, right up the record charts.
I think it may be more accessible than some of our other records are. It has a kind of surface attraction, you know, that'll sort of suck you into it, you know. So it may be that regular people can understand this record too.
We changed a lot anyway, just over the course of the years, but this one will probably be the best encapsulation of the way we sound in our present incarnation.
Grateful Dead really doesn't work well in the studio. It doesn't happen for us there. So we set up in the environment that we felt more comfortable with, which was a live environment. And we played in a theater with no people in it, and we got the Grateful Dead feel. And that's what makes this thing so cool.
We had a remote truck, a very good one, and we recorded our tracks as though they were performances, and we played and sang at the same time and everything. And that's the way we got the basic tracks for the record. So the energy on these tracks is real energy. I mean, it's not something that was invented in the studio.
That live energy has resulted in their first mainstream hit, Touch of Grey, and their first music video, directed by Gary Gutierrez.
Grateful Dead is sort of known for live concert performance, and so, you know, having Skeletons perform live seems like practically an obvious idea.
Can we do an action cue rehearsal of this thing?
Bobby, stand on that mark. Let me see what happens. I don't think they can play as well as we can.
No, it's really
They might
hard.
look better. They do look better. And this is what we would look like if we were dead and we were playing together. This is exact. Oh, we'd have to be dead a few weeks. A little while, yeah.
A home video called The Making of Touch of Grey documents the Dead's first foray into the video world. It was directed by Bill Kreutzmann's son, Justin.
The actual concert footage for the video was shot down in Laguna Seca in Monterey. And what they did was they let the audience go after the show, and they rigged all the puppets, and they got all the gear. And then a guy went out and he brought back like 2,000 people from the audience and came back in and shot some stuff with the Skeletons in the audience. And then the band came on. And they shot some stuff with the band in the audience and sort of tried to capture that concert feel.
There were some parts about it that it was really strange, to us, you know, like we don't, I mean, lip syncing, you know what I mean? It's not, oh yeah, the Grateful Dead's real good at this stuff, you know. That was an alien kind of experience, but there was an audience of Deadheads for the shoot too, so it was kind of like, you at least had somebody to commiserate with, you know.
Deadheads are going to like it, and people that have never seen the Grateful Dead might become interested in the band and the music. And if that happens, if we get more people interested in our music, that's my idea of doing a good video.
And don't be surprised if the Dead go from the video screen to the silver screen.
We were thinking of doing a feature film about the Deadheads and about the Grateful Dead, or about a mythic character who travels around the Grateful Dead or through the Grateful Dead or tries to find the meaning of, or something like that. We haven't actually crystallized the plot, but we're toying with the idea. It's pretty seriously, actually.
That's not the only idea the band is toying with. There's talk of the band topping their 1978 Egypt trip with a tour of China.
We went to Egypt. That was a fantasy. This is another fantasy we like. This is like, you know, when you go through your life, some of your dreams you'd like to have materialize. This is a collective dream of the Grateful Dead, to go to China.
I think they're going to be a top major touring act from here on in. I think it's nonstop. As long as they want to do it, they're going to do it.
And doing it they are. They've given fans 20 years of good music and good vibes, keeping legions of faithful Deadheads coming back for more.
I don't see them stopping. No need to. They're having a good time. I'm still having a good time.
And I think because the Dead respect us and we respect them is why we have the thing that we have. And that's why we're Deadheads at the end of the day. It's a long, strange trip. What a long, strange trip it's been.
It's not at all dull, you know, and it hasn't even started to get, it's not even started to look like it's going to get that way.
I figure if we stick it out long enough, that one of these clowns is going to let his guard down and I'll be able to get him for all the things he's done to me over these years.
We're the Grateful Dead. We're on the Grateful Dead. We're in our bubble. You know, we like it here. This is our little minor empire. You know, we like it. You know, we built this ship and we'll ride this ship.
Back, chicken shack, son of a gun. Change your act. All confused. What's the blues? You can call this song the United States Blues. Where that play? Where did the wine and Thank you all. Good night.